Looks like we got a lot of one-line sims online.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Okay, great.
Oh wow, they even
Yeah.
got the cones down the middle of pit lane right and everything. Wow, look at that. The authenticity.
Right, since I guess the stream is
I've
live,
never
I'll,
seen that many people
sorry, go ahead.
in around that building though. I've never seen that many people around that building at Harris Hill in my life, so that's pretty good. So,
Since the stream is live, I guess I'll throw it into an opener.
let's do it.
Yeah, man. Excited. Finally back again. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to a beautiful Tuesday evening in America. Welcome back to the Harris Hill Raceway League that the One Line Racing Center organizes once every month together with Harris Hill, and we're back at the beautiful track. This time going clockwise again. I'm not alone in the commentary booth. I'm joined by the ever electric and exciting Jordan in the commentary booth. Jordan, good evening for you it is, good night for me. Yeah, once again back at Harris Hill Raceway going clockwise again. We've seen this before, and back when we saw it, I think a month or 3 ago, it was absolutely thrilling action.
Oh yeah, well first off, pleasure to be back with you guys. Pleasure to be back with One Line. Pleasure to be back with you, Dan. This is awesome. I love doing this stuff, and it's a real pleasure to be back watching these guys race as hard as they do, especially here in Harris Hill. So really cool deal here. Everybody tuning in is in for a treat.
We've got 16 cars in the session. Some of these drivers will be racing from the One Line Racing Center. There are also drivers in here that might be racing from the comfort of their own bedroom or their own house, wherever their sim is located. You know how it goes, Jordan. We sim racers probably get allocated the least amount of space in the house to put a sim rig in. So yeah, well, that's how it is.
Yeah. Mine lives in a portable box actually because of where it needs. You know, like people are like, you gonna set that up like in the middle of here? Okay, all right. So yeah, exactly. We don't get no love, that's for sure.
Now, we do welcome you back, Jordan. I think this is now the 3rd time we're doing this. We did this before at Harris Hill. We did it at Kota, and you're back now for the 3rd time once again at Harris Hill.
Yeah.
But in between those races, you've been up to stuff too. What have you been up to? I think it's quite exciting to explain to everyone.
Man. Yeah, so I you know, traditionally coming from GT cars, GT4, GT3 stuff for the past 5 years. This year made a big transition over into Euro NASCAR, with the help of One Line and several other awesome sponsors. We've made the transition over to Euro NASCAR, and yeah, I'm racing NASCARs all over Europe. The first race I was able to participate in with Brands Hatch, which was a couple weeks ago, or actually like last week. Yeah, and managed to pull a podium out of it in my debut. So not too bad for first time out, and I'm having a ball. So very cool series. If you're interested at all, look for Euro NASCAR on YouTube. All the live streams are free on there. And then if you want to get over there to see a race, they're pretty awesome racing.
Not too shabby podium on debut. Are you visiting Zolder by any chance? Because I know the Euro NASCAR series.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
please let me know when, because that track is about 15 minutes away from where I live.
Oh, perfect, dude. I think it's in October. Is when we're there. So.
Oh,
nice. We'll have to be in touch. Get you out to the track, bro.
Yeah, man.
It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
You're gonna need all that V8 heat. You know, all that V8 heat. So.
I'll be right in the pit box there when you're revving it. All right, let's get to the action on track then.
Let's do it.
CJ Hunt is the one who we're looking at the moment. He's in 16th, looking for an improvement, looking for a time on the board, first of all. Hasn't set a lap time as of yet. I think he's now going into one of his first pushing laps, immediately meeting cars on the out lap. So they're exiting pit lane. Not ideal once you start your flying lap. But CJ Hunt managing to get through that quite nicely. Don't think it was interrupted by that too much. Look at this camera. You can see the whole track from this view. I love
awesome. That's kind of like.
Go ahead.
That's kind of like how the track is from the building. Is you can see the whole track and everything. The only issue is just what CJ was just dealing with. The track's not super long, so when you're going for a quali lap and there's a lot of cars on track, you're guaranteed to hit track.
Yeah, especially with cars on out laps trying to get their tires up to temperature. Those cars are at different speeds. So quite easy to run into traffic that way. Joey Dom, as always, he's here with us this evening. A known face now at the One Line Racing Center, Joey Dom. I think Jordan has been racing ever since I did, or I've started doing commentary for One Line Racing Center, and he's still with us. So great to see that Joey Dom just keeps coming back, and that's no surprise to me with the guys over at One Line Racing Center. If you haven't had a go on a simulator yet and you're watching this, you're like, oh, this looks cool, I want to do this for myself. Please do go and have a look. Drive past. If you're even driving past and you don't even plan to visit, just walk in, and I bet that the guys over at the One Line Racing Center will be able to convince you to do at least 10-20 minutes in a sim, and you'll be hooked from that point onwards, and you'll be wanting to come back, I think, every evening. You're gonna have trouble with the missus. She's not gonna see you very often in the evenings. Movie nights don't exist anymore. It's gonna be simulator nights at the One Line Racing Center. Back to the action on track then. Jake Spittle, the one we're looking at, he's just been overtaken. I think he came out of pit lane. If he hasn't, that's not an ideal start to your qualifying lap. Has more traffic behind him.
It's just tough to find space, it looks like.
16 cars out on track.
Trying to get out of the way, find a gap.
Yeah, this track poses you with different challenges. Even though it doesn't look like it, there's a lot of elevation changes at this track. Jordan, for the people who are new, you've been at this track yourself. You've driven around this track yourself.
A little bit.
Tell us a bit about the elevation changes.
No. Harris Hill is like the best way I can put it is even though you can see all of it from the building and the map looks really simple, it has insane elevation change. Actually, the direction they're going, the top of turn, what is that, 3, I believe they're calling that. The top of turn 3 drops down into 4, which is a blind it's a blind crest, basically. As you come around the corner, you cannot see the road. The road disappears as you come down the hill. So it's hard to fathom unless you're in a car, but I would compare it to, you know, like a very small version of like a Spa or a Laguna Seca or a Watkins Glen, where you have to be very committed as a driver, because there's times where you can't see the road and you're in a corner. So
it's never ideal, is it?
It's an amazing track. It's a cool little track, man. I love it.
I'd love to give an MX-5 a rip around this track at some point.
Oh, bro, you got to come to Texas, man.
Yeah, exactly,
you come to Texas, we'll put you on track. Don't you worry.
Well, Donnie is racing for tonight. And as we're used to from Donnie, here he is. Of course, we had him ready on cue. Here is Donnie, half a second clear of the field in qualifying at the moment. We still have about 7 minutes left. However, 20.4 already. A very respectable lap time to put in here. Now, this is the third time we're coming back to this track, so drivers should be getting used to this track a little bit at least now. However, still half a second clear, Donnie.
Donnie is definitely showing why Mother's Polish should be paying for his entry fees. You know, like he's got that livery rolling, and he's putting them up front. And right now, as far as I can tell, it's free. So, mothers, if you're watching, give this man some entry fee money or something, because man, he is putting on a show.
Yep, half a second clear of Anderson behind him. We're watching Daniel Escobar in the number 62.
There
He's
he is.
10th at the moment.
Mr. Harris Hill himself.
Well, tell us more about it.
So, Daniel, like I've said in all our broadcasts, Daniel is the heartbeat of Harris Hill Raceway in real life. He is the main track guy. He is out there every day doing everything from mowing the lawn to moving the cones to jumping in race cars with people to make sure everything's all copacetic. So he is Mr. Experience. I don't think he gets much time to be on the sim, which is probably why he's not towards the front. But at the same time, really awesome guy. He does a great job. If you're ever looking to go to Harris Hill, he's the guy to talk to.
Well, you say he's not much towards the front. Oh, as he does a nice little drift on the top of turn 4, Santa Rita. He's 9th at the moment, 1.6 back on someone, well, let's say who's in the sim almost every single minute of the day. So I don't think he's doing that bad. And he's only 1.1 seconds off Anderson in second. Time to find, but for sure doing quite the impressive job for someone who doesn't have the time to be in the sim a lot. Does have the advantage of knowing where the track goes at least, and knowing at least how the track is upkept. But I mean, Daniel Escobar, like you said, the heartbeats of Harris Hill Raceway, and I think it's great to have him along with all of these other drivers. Hopefully we're going to see him back much more often here at the One Line Racing Centre together with our Harris Hill League. Well, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of qualifying. It's 4 minutes left. If you want to put in a quick lap time, time's trickling away for you. You're going to have to do it quick, Jordan.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was sitting there talking. Yeah, you got to get your laps in quick. It's a short lap here, but like I said, because of traffic, it's like you got to get in where you fit in. If you haven't gotten a lap in yet, you are looking for a gap desperately because you've got maybe one warm-up lap left before you have to throw down.
Well, let's see who's on quick laps then. A lot of drivers here that, well, I haven't seen since the last Harris Hill, because I think the last Harris Hill I did, or the last Harris Hill League race that I commentated on, must be about 2 months ago. I sadly couldn't attend a month ago, but yeah, like I said, happy to be back, but lots of new faces. Escobar has jumped up to 7th, is now only 7/10 back on Anderson in 2nd, so he's done a tremendous job already finding time left, right and center. Of course he knows this track in and out, that's the advantage that he has compared to the others, and that's paying off right now. He might not quite know how the sim's working quite yet, however, he knows how this track works and he knows where he needs to be with this MX-5. Donny Bouch at the front of the field, 20.1. He's set the benchmark to, he's dropped that even further. He's now 7, almost 9/10 ahead of Anderson in 2nd.
Tickling the sub 120 marker right now. He's looking for it. I am I'm very impressed with the lap times. That's hustling at Harris Hill for sure.
That'll be quite the impressive feat if he manages to get down into the 119s. We haven't seen that happen in any of the races we've done here around this track, so 119 would for sure be something. Anderson in 2nd, ahead of Ryan in 3rd.
Record, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Anthony Wen is in 4th. I expected him a little higher up. Gotta be quite honest with you, he did just improve by a couple hundredths of a second. Joey Dom in 5th, ahead of Spittle in 6th. Escobar 7th, Westergles in 8th, then it's Robin 9th, and Masses in 10. Then it's a number, 36 in 11th. Can't quite figure out which person that might be. Oh, there you go. It's Arthur Werchan.
Arthur Werchan, what's up, man? Let's go.
We've certainly seen him before.
He's normally pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've seen him before. He's been up in the top 5 in a couple of the races. So, yeah, let's see. Maybe he can jump himself up into, well, at least the top 10 in qualifying. That would help his race progress tremendously.
top two are in pit lane, rightfully so. I think they deserve a break. You know, they've
Yeah.
definitely thrown down. Second through fifth is tight, man. Look at that. That's like 2/10 between second and fifth. That's pretty wild. Wow.
Yeah, this is what we're used to at the One Line Racing Center these days. Racing absolutely at the limit. But for some reason, Donny has been able to put that limit just a little further away. Maybe he can extract 105% of the car, but others just are extracting that 100% of the car. So Donny is
Someone check his
7/10
car.
clear.
Check his car. Check his car. Check
Yeah,
his
he
fuel.
might be underweight. Check the toe and the camber angles on those front and rear tires, please.
Right. Right. What kind of tires he's running? He's got to have something new on there or something, you know? Like this guy's throwing down almost a second faster than the rest of the grid. Very impressive from a qualifying standpoint. Let's see if we can hold it together during the race. Everything that I've seen from him in the past shows that he can. Let's see what happens. That's why we call it racing and not qualifying. Love it.
Yeah, points are awarded in the race, so nothing qualifying. And AJ Masek, I think this might be. Or is it ADJ Mass? Well, we'll call him that way this race because I'm not 100% sure. So we'll go with ADJ Mass.
Right.
He's finding himself at the back of the field, 18th on a 1 minute 14.599. Plenty of time to find out there. Good thing though, Jordan, he has about 30 minutes of the race to do so.
Exactly. Plenty of time to learn. Sometimes the racing is the best way to learn, especially when you're trying to find chunks of time early on. You know, it can be a little daunting to be thrown to the wolves, but at the same time, if you try to keep up with them and do a good job, then you're on the pace. So.
Well, I think he has just done that, and I have gotten confirmation that it is AJ Masek, indeed, in P16
Okay.
he's in at the moment.
Yeah.
123.666 is what he'd be. Yeah, see? Found the time eventually, and at the death of it, he's put himself at least up a couple of spots. He's not carrying the red lantern, as we would call it, at the back of the field. 127.306 is the time that's put at the back of the field, and that's 7 seconds only slower than Donny Bouch, someone who's doing this for a living, let's put it like that. So I don't think that's too shabby. That was qualifying though. Let's have a run through the grid because it's quite a lot to go through before we get to the starting grid. So it's Donny Bouch in P1, and it's Anderson in second, Brian in third, and it's Anthony Wen in fifth, Joey Dom in fifth, it's Spittle in sixth, Rob seventh, Escobar in eighth, Westgles in P9, and Masses in P10. Then I have forgotten who's in P11 already, but it's Ben in P12, Manukin in P13, and there you go, it's Arthur Wertchan in P11, Manukin in P13, Matt Haynes in P14, Hemi in 15th, AJ Masek finds himself in 16th, Hunt is in 17th and 18th, and closing off the grid for tonight is Montaring, who I think joined late, because I think when I mentioned it, I said we had about 16 cars in this session, so he might have joined late,
He wasn't
however...
on track until very at the end, yeah.
Yeah. So that's then not even that bad of a lap time if you've only done about 2 or 3 laps here.
All right, let's go. This is going to be a good race.
Right, waiting for all these cars to line up on the grid. That gives us a good chance, though, to talk about our expectations for this race, Jordan. I think with especially second through to, well, really fifth being that close, we're going to see a tremendous battle at the front of the field. Donny, yeah, well, I have a feeling he's going to check out, and we're not going to hear from him until about... well, we're not going to hear from him until about 2 minutes after this race. He's going to check out, not look back at all. Sure. That's the feeling I have. However, the last time Donny qualified on pole by a considerable margin, let's say he bottled it in the race, and the race was quite a lot more difficult for him than it should have been.
There you go. There you go. That's why we race. That's why we race. I think the top 5 to 6 guys are looking extremely strong, and as long as they keep it clean and fair, it should be an amazing race.
Right, let's get this thing going then, shall we? Expecting, and I'm still going to go for it, a Donny Bouch win ahead of an Anthony Wen in second, and I'm going to throw it in there. I'm going to throw Joey Dom in third. The 6 red lights are on your screen as soon as they're out. We're underway and racing at the Harris Hill Raceway. It's a good start for our front runners. There was one of the cars that didn't get going at all. Arthur Werchan goes past it. It's the number 23. I think it was Rob who did not get going from his starting grip position at all. Drivers behind him having to take avoiding action to turn 1. I think a little further back in the field there was contact. Yes, Mikkel Manukin was caught up in that as well. But Donny Bouch at the front of the field, a good start for him, uncontested. Ryan, however, going past Anderson into turn 4.
Down the inside, looking good. Not quite clear though. Way to fight from the outside. We're going to race all the way down to the next one.
Chase Anderson looking to come back at Ryan ahead of him, going into turn 7 into Mustang. Ryan braking quite late. Has he out-braked himself? No, he hasn't. Turns out Chase Anderson was braking quite on the safe side on this first lap. Just getting the tires at the temperature. Nice and clean lead. Like I said, Donny though at the front of the field, checking out with 1.4 already.
Yeah, he's already trying to check out. Guys at the One Line Racing Center, if you can hear me, work together, get back to him, then race.
Well, that's what they're going to be looking to do, because it looks like at the moment, if they're going to start fighting, the only thing they're going to do is allow Donny to get more room between him and the chasing pack. And I think that will be, well, catastrophic for the chasing drivers, because I think the gap he has at the moment, 1.7 seconds, is already a handful to catch on Donny.
That's a big gap. But if they bump draft and work together, especially on the straights right now, they've got a chance to get back to him in about 4 or 5 laps, I believe.
Well, Anthony Wen and Joey Dom, the 2 drivers that I put on the podium, at the moment fighting for 4th and 5th behind Anderson and Ryan. Behind that, it's Spittle in 6th, as we see another mistake, this time from Rob, who already didn't have the best starts to this race, didn't get going at all when the lights went out, and now has had another incident, and he finds himself down in 16th. Hemi has just overtaken Montaring for 17th, as those 2 swap round again. So, position swaps all across the field. Manukin gets past Hunt. We're watching Bradley Hemi here. Here is Michael Manukin. Behind him, I think he has Hunt. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. You see it in the rearview mirror on the top of your screen. That's quite handy, actually. I've never had that in a broadcast, that I can see what's happening behind while I'm focusing on the driver who actually...
Yeah.
Exactly. Our producers at the One Line Racing Center. Yeah, our producers at the One Line Racing Center, they're providing us with beautiful camera shots, and the camera shots we all want and we all need. So Ryan in second now, leading that chasing pack. He's half a second ahead of Anderson. And my question is, can Anderson follow the pace that Ryan is setting at the front of this chasing pack? Because if he can't, it's going to be difficult to bump draft. Oh, here comes Anthony Wendo. He sees an opportunity on Anderson. And you know that if you give Anthony Wen an opportunity, he'll take it. He's a little wide on exit, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it. It's a Mustang though. He's just a little too far back. He has a look, but if he, went up the inside from there, that would have been overtaken a year, I think, coming from about 5 car lengths back. Anderson putting that car exactly where he needs to, defending as best as he can, making the MX-5 as wide as possible to not give Anthony Wen an opportunity to even have a sniff at a pass. Going into turn 10, the hairpin.
Open a little bit, being a little defensive though.
Yeah, you have to watch out that you don't start defending when you don't have to.
Yeah. Donnie's now over 2 seconds out front.
There's still though your closest battle on track, and there goes Anderson with the mistake. And Anderson has also lost that position to Joey Dom. So now it's Anthony Wen's turn to try and chase down Ryan. If he can work together with him.
Oh my
But
goodness.
Chase Anderson with the mistake
What a
coming
mistake.
out of turn 3,
Oh,
Corman's corner, and, well,
it's rough.
has to do all of that tough work that he did in qualifying all over again. Has even lost the position to Spittle behind him. So he's now down into 6th, and that's how quickly it can go here, Jordan. Was running 3rd at the start of this lap, is 6th, not even at the end of this lap.
You know, these MX-5s are all about momentum, and if you're able to keep it on track, your momentum is tends to be up. But the moment you're off track, you've got to slow that momentum down and just keep the car straight. So you can lose a lot by making one little mistake, especially by going off track.
Yeah, and I don't think that only applies to the MX-5 in general, just to cars that are quite low on power compared to their weight ratio. You just want to keep up momentum because there is not much power. It's the same as driving a rental kart, basically, Jordan. You can compare it to driving a rental kart and driving a proper racing kart, right? A racing kart, you can make a tiny mistake and the engine will pull you through. Also, it weighs a lot less than a rental kart would. But in a rental kart, if you bog the engine down, you have a real nightmare getting the acceleration out of the corner. Chase Anderson, talking about acceleration out of the corner on entry, has a massive snap that compromises his exit out of the corner. Spittle manages to keep that position of Anderson, but Anderson trying to force the issue on Spittle.
He is definitely putting the pressure on. That is a battle and a half happening.
Looking
Got
to the
another
inside
one,
of
looks
7.
like Bruin up in front of us too, up for 2nd place as well. But right now, this is where we want to be. Man, what? Yeah, these guys are going at it. I think the 2nd place battle is going to keep developing, but Donnie,
this is where it's at
right now. 4 seconds. This is where it's at right now. This battle
Chase
for 5th is
Anderson.
everything.
Oh
Chase
no! Contact!
Touch!
My goodness! Well, the pot boiled over quite quickly there for Chase Anderson.
See that.
It was a tough one. Rubbing is racing, as they say, but that was, I think, more than rubbing. That was a straight sucker punch in the face from Anderson on Spittle.
That was a tough one, man. I think it was definitely a strong move by Anderson. I will say this though. I feel like he had the inside, and Spittle really tried to close that door or move in and make that a tight corner for him, and you know, I think Anderson had very little place to go in that sense. So like, we'll see how the officials see it, but I think, to me, that's kind of a racing incident. You know, I think they were both battling hard, had a little contact, not too much worse for the wide.
Watching, or we're on board with Adam Westicles, who is on the back of AJ Masek, who I think in the break has been able to change his name. AJ Masek needs to change his braking point for that corner too, because that's massively deep going into 7 into Mustang, and then he loses out to Westicles, who goes through up into 12th. 11th place now. Next car that he will be chasing down is Ben and Arthur Warchan in P10, but this is the battle for 2nd place. Anthony Wen has indeed been able to close that gap up to Ryan. Joey Dom is still within 1.3 seconds back, but this is where it's at now. 2nd place battle, 3 tenths in it. Anthony Wen has gained 6 tenths already on Ryan, and it looks like he's about to gain even more.
Got the pressure on him right now. We'll see how Ryan deals with it. He's playing it good so far.
Oh, that was a little bit of an oversteer for Anthony Wen, showing that he is absolutely on the limit of what that MX-5 can do, and sometimes even a slight bit over it. Jake Spittle looking to come back at Anderson. This is a battle that's been going on for a while now. Anderson has been thrown back into this battle after his own mistake coming out of 3, and now Spittle gonna hang it all the way around the outside, and I did not see that coming. Spittle moves it around the outside of Anderson. He's been done on the outside. What a sneaky move that was from Spittle, but he manages to make it stick. I love it.
That's amazing.
And you know that when Jordan is lost for words, you've just made a mega pass, After that, though, going a bit
Yeah.
deep into the hairpin, turn 10. Managing to cut it back and get the exit. But Anderson being shown that Spittle is not a pushover at all. He's not going to roll over and get his tummy tickled.
Oh my goodness, these guys are putting on a show for us tonight. I love it.
Joey Dom in fourth, closing up that gap slowly but surely. Anthony Wen has seemed to lost out a bit on Ryan in second. However, Joey Dom hasn't gained massively on Anthony Wen. So I have a feeling Ryan is just on an absolute banger of a lap here, and he's going to, well, set his personal fastest lap of the race soon. Donny Badge, don't check that at the front, gap almost 5 seconds. I don't think there's anyone challenging him tonight.
Oh, Tibbs, he's just got to keep it together, keep it smooth, keep doing what he's doing. You know, be a professional and putting on a show for us. I can really appreciate what he brings to this sort of stuff, even though it's a little frustrating when you get a Max Verstappen type in the mix.
Yeah, I would very much agree with that.
I think it's good for the guys to see what's possible and why, you know, even in the sim, practice makes the best drivers.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, especially in the sim, because the more practice you can get, the better. And you know what the good thing is? You don't have to pay for fuel, tires, and anything anytime you go out on track in the sim. So you just have to take a moment of your time, spend that time on the sim, spend that time on getting the improvements in, and you'll see results somewhere down the line. Much easier than it would be traveling to a track in the real world, unpacking everything, setting the car up. Just much nicer, much quicker, and much easier to do in the sim. So especially where practice is so available for anyone, it's even more important that you get that practice in. Coming back on what you said about Donny, I think that's the good thing. There are times, and I think Donny does coaching as well at the One Line Racing Center. So if you would like to be coached by, well, let's be honest, the driver that's blitzing the field at the moment has a gap of 5.5 seconds after just 12 and a half minutes of racing here at the Harris Hill Raceway against drivers that, well, let's be honest, are driving from the comfort of their own rig, don't have to get used to the rigs at the One Line Racing Center. Even though they're great rigs, it's not your own, as there was contact between Ben and Resticles. And that was another moment, I think, where the driver on the inside had the inside. The door was just closed. Coming back to what I was saying, though, yeah, I think it's great to see that someone like Donny is vouching for himself and is just saying, look, if you want to become better at racing, you have to be at my address. I'm the quickest at this.
Right. Exactly. I think he shows that, you know, it's not about, you can have the best sim rig in the world. If you're not practicing, if you're not putting in the time, if you're not getting on the rig and putting in the seat time and spending and racing with your community of other racers, then you're never going to get that.
Yeah, and you know, just as well as I do, Jordan, from my time in the sim and your time on the real track, that you don't learn anything when you're just driving around. You have to drive around with a purpose. No. And I think Donny is really good at giving you that purpose, explaining to you exactly what the car wants, because every car is a different driving style. So like I said, if you do want to be coached, he is available at the One Line Racing Center. Like I said, go and give them a visit, and there might just be a chance that you'll be coached by the driver who's blitzing the field at the moment and who's won so many races, and actually a driver who there's a rule for that he is not allowed to compete just because he's this good.
And that's the thing. It's like in this.
Oh, massive contact!
Crazy!
Massive contact into turn one. Adam Westicle side-by-side contact with Ben, and that spins him round. Lucky that he didn't rejoin the track sideways into turn two.
Once again, looked like a racing incident to me, to be truly honest. They were wheel to wheel, side by side, through that corner, and not much you could do there. You know, gave each other room, little tap. You know, sometimes sometimes that's just how it goes. But unfortunate for West Coast, but at the same time, he's back in it. Get back rolling. Might be able to fight back. There's still plenty of time in the race, halfway through.
Well, like you said, coming up.
Still blazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to stay this way for quite a while. These two are, even like we saw in qualifying, there's not even a tenth between them. There's hundreds, if not thousands only between these drivers every lap, lap after lap after lap. And that's why I think these two are so close in the timing tower on your left-hand side at the moment as well. Just 5/10 between the two drivers.
Top 10.
Matthew Ben.
Battle going on for top 10.
Yeah, he's on the verge of it. He's looking to get into the top 10
his way through, you know. He's had a few incidents with some other people so far on track, but it seems like he's matriculating his way up the order. So we'll see if he's got anything for these guys going into the top 10.
Looking a little bit further up the field again. Here's the battle between Anthony Wen and Ryan. Ryan just coming out of that corner, made a tiny mistake, went a little wide. That gives Anthony Wen the chance to at least try and have a look for a move. I think going into 7 now. Yes, it is. Now this is going into the hairpin at the top of the track. Turn 10. Just coming back to start finish now to complete lap number 12. And Anthony Wen still on the rear bumper of the MX-5 ahead of him from Ryan. Joey Dom also closely following these two, only a gap of 2.2 seconds. Behind that though, Anderson, who was so there at the start of this race, has really dropped off with an 8-second gap now to P4. Did not expect that, gonna have to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it, except for the fact that him and Spittle were putting on a show with the battle they were having for 5th for a while, and I think that dropped them way back in terms of the fight they were having. I think the guy who stands to benefit the most right now in all of these situations is Joey Dom. I think he's just sitting back there waiting for Ryan and Anthony to win, to start getting into it later in this race so he can pick up the pieces. I think it's a smart play for sure. And I think if Anderson and Spittle are smart, they keep fighting to get back up to that group, because I think, like you said, Ryan and the Win are super close in terms of lap time and everything like that. So I get a strong vision of them two battling it out.
All right, on board with our leader at the moment. Let's stay on board with our leader, and let's be quiet, Jordan, for a lap, and let's Donny take everyone around for a lap of the Harris Hill Raceway. Well, there you go. That was a lap around the Harris Hill Raceway. And you really do get to see what the undulation does with you, the blind corners that Jordan talked about, and just the sheer character of this track. There's not a lot of room for any mistakes. And if you do go off, you're met with grass immediately.
Immediately. And we have a saying in racing, the grass is fast. So not slow down. You got to be very smart with your moves here. It looks like we got a battle going on between Daniel Escobar and Christian Damascus right now. Up into the block. See, you can't see the road. No road. No road. There it is. Wow, so cool.
Yeah, this is the guy that does all the lawn mowing, like you said, around this place, Daniel Escobar. So if you do go off right in front of him, he'll be very, very mad because he'll have to do all of that again. He's like a football club groundsman. He's really proud of his grass, I bet, and rightfully so, because this track is nestled between beautiful landscapes, I have to say, and well, Daniel Escobar trying his best to keep his up at the Harris Hill Raceway. Back to the racing. It's masses ahead of Escobar. It's Anthony Wen behind Ryan. And this battle's still going on for second. Well, can we really call it a battle? Because let's be honest, Anthony Wen hasn't been able to go for a move yet, or hasn't even thought about going for a move yet. Maybe he's just happy sticking behind Ryan. Just sitting behind, waiting for the right opportunity, just piling on the pressure.
It does seem like that. It does seem like that. I don't know if he thinks he has pace to get up to the leader. I mean, if I'm him, you know, I guess I'm in my eyes, you don't want to wait to make a move, but at the same time, you know, if he almost goes, but in reality, you know, like the goal isn't to get just second. You know, you're trying to win the race, and if Donnie has any sort of issue right now, if he has one big bobble or little bobble for that matter, you could find yourself back in this race if you're not sitting behind second place and third, just happy to be there. So I'm a big fan of them trying to race as much as possible. You know, like early on, I wanted them to keep, you know, together to close that gap, but now there's no sense in waiting. You know, if you're Anthony to win, it's time to go. And if you're Ryan, you're just playing it smart, playing it safe. And if he does try to go, you know, counter moves are where it's at. Defending is just going to slow you down.
Yeah, and also for Anthony Wen, this might be a period to start creating some patterns for Ryan to get used to. That at some point, when he does want to attack, he can just go off pattern, surprise Ryan, because he won't see it coming because he's been setting that pattern for the last couple of laps, and just surprise him, take him by surprise. It'll be the easiest pass you'll ever make. Not the easiest pass you'll ever see. Is the pass that Christian Damascus just tried, hanging around the outside of 3, going down the hill, Carmen's corner, and going up into 4 now. That was a tricky place to put your car on the outside, and as I like to say, when you put your car on the outside, you are putting yourself on the penalty spot. The car on the inside just has to kick you into the goal and push you off the track.
Oh yeah. You have to be a certain type of driver to know that you can hang it around the outside and hold your own. You know, and I do not recommend it highly. It is a very risky, selfish, and sometimes very brave maneuver. So, you know, very, what do we call that? We call that low probability, you know, like, so I'm a big fan of setting it up that way, and that might be what he's doing. He might be, you know, showing the outside, look what I'm going to do, look where I might go, and actually next time you think you're going to block that, and you're not. I'm going inside, you know, so let's see what he does.
It's a percentage game, Jordan. There's a 10% chance you'll go to work tomorrow and you'll show off to your friends, look at what I did. I sent that guy around the outside, and there's a 90% chance you're getting pushed off the track and you're gonna end up in tears because you chose the outside line. Anthony Wen now trying to pile on the pressure on Ryan, and he's only 2/10 back now. This is crunch time in the race, 6 minutes to go. I have a feeling this battle for second might become feisty soon.
We're in for a show, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are great drivers, being very fair with each other. We're going to see a great match.
They're actually gaining now on Donny Bouch. Look at that, 5.4 seconds is the gap now. Donny is dealing with some lap traffic, but they are gaining on Donny, showing that even Donny isn't perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're a human at the end of the day. And I'd be very impressed if for a 30-minute race you can hit all your markers perfectly, every lap in and out. And even Donny, like I said, a tiny mistake here or there, and you just lose a couple of tenths. But he has the margin to do so. For him, luckily, he built that up over the rest of the race. Adam Westicle's looking for a move of the inside of, I think, Arthur Wertjan. Yeah, Arthur Wertjan in 11th. So Adam Westicle's coming out of turn 11. Tucked nice and tightly into that slipstream. Coming out of turn 3. Now, this will be one of his chances. There's a good straight going into 4 here.
Yeah,
4's a good braking zone.
Up the hill.
Let's see what he does. He's going to go for the inside, the outside, or is he going to manage to stick behind? Just buy this time for a little longer. I think it's going to be that last one. The opportunity opens up on the inside because Arthur Wertjan makes the mistake, and that's what Adam Westicles was hoping for. He was piling on the pressure. The pressure eventually became too much for Arthur. He made the mistake, and that allowed Westicles through. He's now up into 11th, and Arthur Wertjan has company from Matt Haynes behind him.
Man, it's non-stop here on track.
He's Ryan.
Back to the battle for second.
These two have now overtaken the lap traffic. It's now a straight battle between Ryan and Anthony Wen. 4 minutes left in this race. Donny Bouch is gonna decide when this race is going to finish, depending on his pace. But Joey Dom now 3.5 seconds back on this battle. If they keep fighting like this, they might invite Joey Dom to make it a 3-way fight.
Said I think he's waiting back there for them to start mixing it up, and then he can pick up the pieces. I would like to see these guys, especially Anthony Wen, start to really get aggressive here because time is running out. You need to establish yourself in second position before the end of this race. I love chasing, but being in that controlling position, there's nothing like it from a result standpoint. So if Anthony Wen's serious about getting to that next step on the podium, he's got to start getting a little more aggressive right now.
Yeah, 3 minutes left when Donny Bouch crossed the start-finish line. So that, I think, means that we have 3 more laps left in this race. With lap times of 1 minute 20, that does indeed mean 3 more laps, and then this race will have been concluded. So Anthony Wen has got 3 more shots left at this run, coming out of turn 3, going into turn 4. And if you look at it like that, Jordan, that's not a lot. Time is trickling away for you.
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot of time. Ryan doing an incredible job of just hitting his marks, staying where he's at, not running too defensive so that he sacrifices time right now, and just making sure that he's running as quick as he can. Because, like you said, if they're only separated by 100th or so, right now, just running solid laps is going to be enough.
Moment for Matthew Ben. He's dropped down from 11 to 13th. Oh, and is that 1 + 1 is 2? 1 + 1 equals 2 in this case. Matt Haynes and Ben, I think, came to blows. Oh no, what's that then?
No!
Matt Haynes. Questions will be asked with that move.
Oh man, that was wild. That was wild. Almost looked like he didn't see him at all.
Yep. Well, I think questions will be asked after the race. What exactly went on there?
Sure.
But we're focusing on the battle. It's a 3-way battle between Daniel Escobar, Rob, and Massa's behind it. Rob now with the great exit speed, taking a wider line into this corner.
Yeah. These guys are using all of the track tonight, putting a ton of pressure on Daniel Escobar right now. Not defending, staying smart, staying fast, looking inside. He's going to try and run the pace out. It'll be to the inside, going to the next corner, and still holding on to that lead. 54 seconds left.
Well, Daniel
Looks like
Escobar.
that battle for second is over.
Yeah, Anthony Wen, I think, has thrown in the towel.
Daniel.
Let me tell you who hasn't thrown in the towel. It's Rob who hasn't. Daniel Escobar demoted down to P8 by an incredible move from Rob.
Looking in.
Yeah, he has to watch out. Because because any mistake with cars being this close could well lead to even a 2-position drop. Because remember, not only Escobar that's closely following, look behind that. Masses also in 9th place, close behind these two.
Right there. What a battle. Looks like we're coming to the white flag this time, but whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, these three getting real feisty.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Daniel Escobar lost both positions. These two getting real feisty. We're now looking with Christian de Masses. He's now in the back of Rob. There's a car in front of that as well. That's lap traffic. That is Hunt in P17, I think. We have come to the white flag with the driver at the front. And he hasn't had a lot of screen time here today. But he has been mighty this race. And you all know who I'm talking about. He has a 6.3 second lead in the front of the field. I talked with him before this race. He said, well, I'll be competing tonight, and I'll bet you a bottom dollar that I'll be running away. And I said, well, at least you have to win by a gap that's bigger than 10 seconds, else you owe me. And it looks like tonight he's had a massive race, but he does owe me. The gap will be 6.5 seconds around or across the line, but Donny Bouch comes across the line to win at Harris Hill Raceway. Take a bow, Donny. Behind him, the battle was fierce, but at the end of the day, it was Anthony Wen who had to throw in the towel. He finishes third. This is the battle, though, for P7. It's now Masses. Christian de Masses ahead of Rob. Look who's lurking in the background, too. Daniel Escobar having a look at the inside of Rob now. We're going into the final couple of corners on this track. Meanwhile, everyone's slowly but surely trickling in.
Big crossover move coming here. Somebody's got to throw a dive bomb of some sort here. Somebody's got to go in. Oh.
Well, he tried to throw it around the outside. Look at the exit from Escobar, though. Escobar might make this a run to the line between him and Rob. No, he just doesn't have the overspeed. It was a good attempt.
Just 2 more horsepower.
Yeah, exactly. I think his run was broken up a little, and that was quite tactically done by Rob. Yeah. As Adam Westicles in 10th finishes in the top 10 just about. Arthur Werchan finishes in P11. Then it's Ben in P12. Manukian in P13. With Matt Haynes closely following behind him in P14. But oh boy, Jordan, that was another classic One Line Racing Center race. My goodness, action all across the board.
That was incredible.
And again, I'm just sad that it's over already.
Seriously, I mean, props to Donnie for another great win. Also, Donnie, that's what you get for being out front that far. No one wants to watch you. We're watching the racing happen behind you. But great race tonight by him. Great race for second and third right there. That was an awesome battle. The battle for 5th and 6th. Amazing battle. The battle for 7th, 8th, 9th. Incredible. I mean, like you said, battles all over the track. So what a night to be watching a race at Harris Hill with One Line Racing. That was incredible.
Yeah, and once again, they don't disappoint, and they better not, because I'm up at 4 at night doing commentary for this, so they better not disappoint. And, well, let me be honest, they've never disappointed. Well, that was it then again for tonight, Jordan. Once again, a massive, massive thank you for being alongside me in the booth. Hopefully, we'll see you back soon again. Next One Line Racing Center TV broadcasted race will be this Sunday, 3 p.m. Texas time. I have no clue what kind of time zone you're running, because I'm a European and I know nothing about America. Anyways, it's about 3 p.m. local time at the One Line Racing Center. Community Cup time again. And I'll be there once again to do the commentary. Finally back again. I'll see you on Sunday. For today, Donny Bouch wins ahead of Ryan, and Anthony Wen in P3, Joey Dom 4th, and Anderson in P5. That was all from the One Line Racing Center for today. Jordan, thank you very much for being here once again. Thank you very much for the production once again, and thank you very much at you guys at home watching with us. We'll see you back on Sunday. Goodbye.
Cheers.